Ice hockey in Central Europe at the beginning of the 20th century developed rapidly in the lands controlled directly by the Austrian imperial crown: Bohemia, Western Czechia, Austria, in the general sense, and Galicia, Western Ukraine. Ice hockey in Lviv started in January 1909, a year earlier than the first international competition, the European Championship of 1910, in which the national teams of Great Britain, Germany, Belgium and Switzerland took part. In 1910, the pioneer of the Ukrainian sports movement, Professor Ievhen organized ice hockey rules in Ukrainian language and printed them in the magazine News from Zaporizhia, published by the Sokol Club. In the same year, the first competition for the Lviv City Ice Hockey Cup was held in Lviv. 5 teams took part in them, the winner of which was the Polish team Charny. The following year, 1911, the national team of Bohemia, de facto, like Galicia, the territory of Austria-Hungary, took part in the second European Championship and became the champion. Considering the development of hockey in Bohemia, Bobrski seriously began to think about creating the Team Ukraine, which could take part in the European Championship in the future. In 1911, the Ukrainian-language Lviv newspaper Dilo printed an article about Bobrski taking decisive steps. He seeks to encourage Galician youth to ice hockey. Already on September 22, 1911, a meeting of students and members of the Ukrainian Sports Club was convened in Lviv, at which the formation of the Ukraine Sports Association was announced. The statute was approved, and it was submitted to the then Austrian authorities, the so-called Viceroyalty. On November 26, 1911, the Austrian Viceroyalty declared that it does not object to the binding of the Society of Students of Higher Schools Ukraine based on the proposed statute. Matvey Yeversky was elected as the head of the society. He immediately defined a wide range of activities in various sports, the names of which sounded unusual. For example, hockey was pronounced like gakivka. Judging by the photos dated February 1912, several dozen Ukrainian children and young men of Lviv started ice skating at that time. Among the children who began to learn to skate and play hockey in the pre-war years was the future Ukrainian hockey player Myron Trush, who was born in March 1908 in Lviv in a wealthy Ukrainian family of the artist Ivan Trush and the daughter of a Ukrainian intellectual and public figure Mihailo Drahomanov, Ariadna. Judging by other photos from the private archive of Stepan Gayduchok, co-founder of the Ukraine Sports Association, in winter, children and young men under the guidance of the leaders of the Sports Association Ukraine hone their skills on the ice and learn to play hockey on the ground the rest of the seasons. It is worth saying that the first match on the neighboring territory of modern Poland, whose lands were also part of Austria-Hungary, took place 3 years later than in Lviv, in February 1912 between 2 teams from Krakow. But there was no question of the formation of the Polish national team at that time until 1926. In 1913, in addition to Bohemia, which lost the title fight to Belgium, the Austrian national team, which took 4th place, officially participated in the European Championship. The last pre-war European Hockey Championship was held the following year, the winner of which was Bohemia. Unfortunately, the war and political circumstances did not allow the Ukrainian team to take part in international ice hockey competitions. It would take a couple more years to create a national team of Ukraine that, by analogy with Bohemia, could participate in the European Championship. 1919 could be a realistic date for the national team of independent Ukraine to play in the European Championship and become an elite team contending for medals. It was then that most Ukrainian children who started skating in 1911 should have turned at least 18 years old. Anyway, until 1920, the International Ice Hockey Tournament was not held due to the First World War. A lot has changed in Europe during this time. In 1918, the Austro-Hungarian Empire ceased to exist. Instead, its historical lands gained independence. In October, Czechoslovakia emerged and the West Ukrainian People's Republic. After January 22, 1919, Ukraine, in November, Hungary, Austria and the Republic of Poland. At that time, the hopes of the residents of the Ukrainian People's Republic were related to the peaceful and happy future of their Ukrainian families. Galician athletes, including ice hockey players, hoped that after the war, they could represent Ukraine worthily in the international sports arena, the European Championships and the Olympic Games.